Hi, my name is Alex Richardson, and I am the founder and executive director of Fourth Trimester Mission. We are a local to Wilmington nonprofit that encourages and empowers women through pregnancy into early postpartum. My first pregnancy and postpartum experience was not the best. After I had my baby, I had a third-degree tear, and I was dealing with some horrible intrusive thoughts. I went to the one doctor's appointment that you get postpartum, where you get a 10-question mental health survey, and if you don't want to injure yourself or your baby, they say you're good to go. My doctor checked everything out and said, "Oh yeah, you're fine, go ahead." And I could not do much of anything, and I'm a pretty physical active person, and I knew things were not right. I sought out pelvic floor physical therapy on my own. My physical therapist took one look at me and said, "You are not okay." I had so much scar tissue from my tear that needed to be rehabbed, and I was shocked that my doctor looked at me and said I was fine. And I didn't realize until after I had my second baby 2.5 years later that those intrusive thoughts were actually postpartum anxiety. And I wasn't being screened for postpartum anxiety, postpartum OCD, a host of perinatal mood disorders that 10-question questionnaire that you get at your one postpartum visit doesn't cover. I was also incredibly lonely. It was the loneliest I had ever felt in my entire life, and I had this new baby and I couldn't understand what was wrong. After having 2 babies and having the same experience twice, I knew that something needed to change. There needed to be community for moms. There needed to be education on perinatal mental health and resources that are available in the community. So I decided I was going to start a nonprofit. I had 0 experience working in the nonprofit realm. I was a high school Spanish teacher that left my career to be at home with my babies, but I knew something needed to happen, and I knew I could probably fundraise to get it going. We launched in January of 2022, and our programs have always been so simple: home visits and new mama meetups. We started off just doing some new mama meetups at my house, where I would invite any moms over that were pregnant or recently postpartum, just giving them a safe space where they can come with baby and feel welcomed and know that it's going to be okay for them to cry, for their babies to cry, to nurse if they need to nurse. And then I was also doing home visits where Clean Eats so quickly jumped on board and they sponsor meals. So I get to bring these amazing healthy meals to moms, a little gift bag, and just really sit for 30 minutes and check in on mom. How's feeding? How's sleeping? How are you doing mentally and emotionally? And then just be able to educate her on resources that are available in the area.
So my name is Casey Demchek, and this is Delaney. She's just about 3 months old. I started coming to fourth trimester when I was pregnant, which was amazing. I was in my second trimester at the time, and met a lot of moms, mostly who had babies of their own. I didn't meet a ton of pregnant moms, but it was really amazing. I found out about the group on Instagram. And these groups have just been such a constant for me in town. I don't have any moms with kids, mom friends with kids. All my friends don't have children. My family doesn't live in town. And it's been just so nice to have friends to meet up with outside of the meetups as well. So I've gone to lunch and coffee with several of the moms. It's so nice to just talk to moms going through the same thing. The first meetup I came with Delaney, I cried on my way to the meetup because, I was just so proud of us for getting out of the house. Oh my God. It's amazing because these little babies are our world, but it's really hard being a mom, and the dads get it, but they don't get it all the way. It's just so amazing to have this group of women who just get it,
So the main purpose of the new mama meetups is to provide a safe space for moms to get out of that house with the new baby and know that they're going to be welcomed, that they can cry if they need to cry, they can laugh, they can vent their frustrations. I mean, just having a place where you can go and talk about how much your husband is making you crazy because he's sleeping while you're up all night with the baby, it is just so refreshing for a mother's soul. Starting a nonprofit is, I won't say an arduous process, but there are a lot of steps you have to go through to get the nonprofit going. You have to have a board first and foremost, and that board of directors is who you report to, and they really control your job as the executive director. They could fire you if they wanted to. They determine if you get a pay raise or not. So a board is a very important stepping stone to starting a nonprofit. So I found a bunch of women in town who I knew cared about moms. Jody, who started Fit for Mom, she has been on our board since the very beginning. You also want to find people with skills like an accountant or a lawyer. Someone with a secretarial background is really helpful. So starting a board is really, finding a board is step one. Of course, getting your 501c3, doing all the state paperwork, and then really starting to find funding. So we do a lot of fundraising events. Of course, you want to get donors, corporate sponsors. The best nonprofits have a variety of funding from a whole bunch of different areas so that if one area falls through, like if you're in a recession and your donor base falls through, you've got fundraising events or corporate sponsors who can keep you going. It's always really sweet. Moms are so excited for their babies to make friends, which developmentally at this age, they see each other, but nothing is registering. They're not understanding relationships yet, but the mothers get so excited for their baby to make eye contact with another baby and smile. And it's like the beginning of a lifelong friendship, which they're picturing for their babies, but actually it's the beginning of lifelong friendships for the mothers.